It's John McLauchlan. Welcome to another episode of Finding John McLauchlan, as we called it. There's no real methodology to doing these videos, and there's no schedule to doing these videos either. I just think whenever there's something opportune or something worth saying, I'll just go on a video and do it. So this week has been quite interesting. Not quite sure. I haven't quite debriefed what's really happened, but yesterday I spent, in fact I'm losing track of days because my sleep has been affected by this coughing problem, which has kind of revealed itself as to what it really is. Let me just take you back. Let me give you a little bit of backstory. So about 9 years ago, I was teaching a class at karate, and of course when you're the instructor, you don't lose. You set the example for good for your students, and I was doing some press-ups. And I have this technique whereby, if anyone is familiar with the planking thing, that was quite a thing a while ago, where you build up your core doing planking. I used to do the press-ups, obviously on my knuckles, and then go down and hold it, and then push it back, and then go down and push it back, and then go up a little bit for a count of 5, and then back down for a count of 5. So it was quite stressful, and it built up a lot of good upper body strength and core strength as well. But of course, you're building up a lot of pressure in the system. And what I did is I went down, I held it for about probably 5 or 6 minutes, and then pushed up. And as I pushed up, there was so much pressure, I burst my subclavian vein in 2 places. I didn't really know at the time. I know that my arm sort of felt a bit weird, but then it was about 2 days later I got in the shower and I went to wash my hair. I went to wash my head and I went like that. And I thought, oh, I can't actually move my arm. And oh yeah, my arm's about twice the size it should be. So obviously I knew there was a problem there. So I went over to the A&E, they diagnosed it, and it was fine. Made a full recovery, no problems. But what I noticed was, after that, I developed a really annoying cough. Like you get a bit of something in your lungs, like you breathe in something that you shouldn't breathe in, or a bit of dust or something, and you get like this little dry, tickly cough. And it affected me occasionally when I was settling down for bed, and also if I was a little bit stressed, it always came out. Okay, and I thought to myself, you've got yourself a psychosomatic problem here. Okay, this is what it is. It's psychosomatic, so deal with it. Okay. Us men were rubbish when it comes to looking after ourselves, when it comes to medical problems. Bearing in mind this was 7, 8, 9, probably I would say about 8 years ago. Always developed this cough, and if you go back to any of my videos, you'll sometimes hear me doing that. Okay. Anyway, so this cough got worse and worse recently, as I said. Going back to the end of December. Hang on a minute. This cough got worse and worse. Did the NLP sessions with Paul. I said to Paul, look, I think it's psychosomatic. We went through some techniques, and I kid you not, that for the first time I could breathe. I was like, wow, I can breathe without coughing. And he was like, yeah. And I slept perfectly. Remember, I did 6 days of no sleep at all, which kind of drives you crazy. Doesn't drive you crazy at the time, it drives you crazy kind of like a week afterwards. Okay, when you don't know what time it is, or you forget who people are, or you forget who you are. Really dangerous. And anyway, I'm doing this coughing, I get a real severe pain in my back, and I think, okay, I've either cracked a rib, coughing, or I've pulled a muscle, and it's probably more likely a muscle. Things got a lot worse, and then my legs swelled up. So I did some research, and I thought, you've done something more severe. And from my own sort of diagnosis, I thought I've given myself a pulmonary embolism, okay, a PE as we call it. So I went into the A&E, 3 o'clock. Was it yesterday morning? See, I haven't slept either because I've been coughing too much. But I went to the A&E, saw the triage nurse, and she said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "I've got a PE." And these are all the symptoms. She went, "Oh, you're probably right." So it was confirmed I did have a PE. So what I'm thinking right now, here's a takeaway from all this this long convoluted story, is I'm thinking this, because I did say to the consultant, if these blood clots, the PE basically is a blood clot in your lung, okay, which, left untreated, can be a life-threatening situation if it goes into your heart. Your heart stops and you're dead, and then that's it. It's it's the end. Okay, so you were not dead. And I said, do these blood clots, do they dissipate themselves? Do they break down? He says, yeah, they do. Okay, but I'm thinking that I had a blood clot in my lung from the original subclavian injury, and it never cleared, because that cough that I've had has been, it's been good, it's been bad, it's been okay, but it's always been there. And I'm not a smoker, I'm not a heavy drinker or anything else. I'm not even a drinker. Don't do anything. I'm a good boy. I go out and I do running, do karate. The only thing I do wrong is eat too late sometimes, and usually it can be the old habit was eating pizzas at night time. So, lungs are in a good condition, so why have I got this cough? So I'm thinking that this blockage has been there for some time, for some years. When the consultant looked at my x-ray, he thought it was something more severe. Okay, and I said, look, there's the blockage. It's because we did a consultation together with the x-ray with his doctors, and I said, look, there's the blockage. And he went, it could be something more nasty. So I'm looking at him going, well, just if you think I've got cancer, you just say I've got cancer, So either way, and here's the way I look at illness. Don't get worried about illness. Just deal with it. Okay? Someone says you got cancer. Oh, okay. What's the treatment? We'll get over it, and then we'll employ the mindset to get rid of it. That's the way I look. I've always looked at that. And I remember, when I was 18, I had a bike accident and almost lost my right leg on a motorbike. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we'll sort it. Doctors coming through saying, well, if he gets infected, we may have to amputate. No, you won't. Be fine. Don't worry. Off you go. That was me at 18, just naive, but doing the right thing to get the right result. So yeah, he's looking at my chest, going, it could be cancer. It could just be the blockage, but we need to check. And I was in A&E, or the ER, as they say in the States, for about 14 hours, just waiting for results, getting tests, and it was all fine. But yeah, this is what I'm going to say. When you want to move forward in life, you got to get rid of the shit that is holding you back, and we've all got shit that's holding us back. Okay, now I don't use the term shit loosely. Okay, that's probably a bad combination of words, but I use it because everyone has their own shit, and you can identify your own shit. Okay, so therefore I'm identifying your own. Okay. When you've got a physical blockage, that can also be as bad as a mental blockage. Okay, and if you go back and if you look at people like Joe Dispenza talking about the way that he healed from his injuries and the mindset he adopted, it has a big factor on being able to move forward in life. And when you've been through emotional trauma and you suddenly decide, remember what I said in the day one, or the very first version of this video series, I've spoken to many people who have dealt with parents that have died, and usually it's death where people go, fuck it, I'm going to go for life, okay, or they go, fuck it, I'm going to give up, okay, and that's really, really sad, because all that potential people have got, it just goes. But I say that for a reason, is because that is the word they come out with. It's always the same. It's always been the same, and it's always with the same emotional intention. Fuck it. I'm just going to go for it. Okay. And when we go through emotional trauma, that's what happens. And I was on the road to going, right, here we go. Fitness, everything is all going to start aligning. Fitness, or let's say start with the mindset. Okay, first of all, let's get the NLP in action. Let's get the mindset. Let's create the future of what we want. And I believe that this, where is it? It's here. It's around. It's just below, just below my my pectoral muscle. Okay. I believe this blockage has been there. Okay. I believe my subconscious knew it was there, and I believe that it said, let's get this shit sorted. Let's get this out. Okay, let's relieve the blockage, and then we can really move forward with the real purpose and real intention. And that's where I am now. So, and this is one of the things about when people start talking about the law of attraction. There are so many people, and I said in day one as well, you know, the law of attraction has been kind of misinterpreted by a lot of people, and used for commercial gain in many different situations. Here's the thing about law of attraction. First of all, it's a science. There's no doubt about that. Secondly, you don't know what's going to happen when you want your future. You don't know the circumstances or events that's going to get you there. And sometimes those circumstances and events can bring up additional challenges, okay, that you may or may not want to go through, you know. But ultimately, if you believe in the universal power, okay, the universal force, there is there. There's no question that it exists. The only downside is that you shouldn't reject things just because you don't believe it, just because it's outside the realm of your own consciousness, okay, because we do reject things with a reflex action, but not because it can be explained, but just because we go, I don't believe in that, so therefore it doesn't exist. But it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means you don't accept it. Okay. And when we accept that we are not the only thing on this universe, when we accept the fact that there are things that we don't understand, then we enter a new realm of a new paradigm almost. Okay. And without wanting to sound too woo-woo, okay, because I know it can turn a lot of people off, just know that it exists and that it's there and that it works, okay? Because I'm proof that if you deal with, or if you constantly thinking, not constantly thinking, but if your predominant thoughts are negative, then you'll just attract more of the same. If you think in terms of where you're going and circumstances that's going to take you there, then you're gonna improve your life, but you're going to go through some shit to get there. And I believe going through all this pain, going through literally, I mean, there was 4 days, there was 6 days straight, 4 days straight of no sleep, 6 days straight of no sleep. Just recently, that's why I look so wonderful today, because I've, you know, I didn't sleep when I went to the hospital. Went all the way through, had a few hours sleep last night, because every time I lay down I start coughing. You know, and the other thing I've noticed as well is that I've been walking, you know, like fell walking, and I've been doing running and things, and it feels like I've got a problem with my AC joint. I can feel it now. It's painful. It's painful up here. Okay, and I've been thinking, okay, I'm getting older. Obviously, my AC joint is wearing out, and if I've been walking, I've had to put my hand up on a tree or something and really stretch it out and take that pain off, or fold it across like this. I think that's all related to this PE. I think there's a nerve attached in some way. That's what it feels like. Okay. Now I don't know the science behind it because I haven't looked, but that's what it feels like. And I think once this PE dissipates, there'll be a new chapter. I really do. I do believe that. And I can get back onto the training, you know, and get back onto the whole straight and narrow where we're going. So that's really the takeaway I want to say, is that when you start planning your ideal life, you know, don't foresee the little steps. What we want to be doing is manifesting the long-term plans, and obviously just go and watch Joe Dispenza on YouTube and follow his training. That's what I mean. I said I've got to say that I've met Joe Dispenza and I saw him in 2015 because it makes me sound good. Okay, there we go. That's the. But we've got to give gratitude and thanks for what we've got, and we've got to give gratitude and thanks for things that we want. Okay, because the brain doesn't know the difference between a real experience and an imagined experience. Crikey, you go and arrest plenty of people who have been on drugs, who are on drugs, okay, or have abused drugs. There is no crossing of reality, or there is a big crossing of reality, should we say, and different universes. Okay, so the brain is capable of so many things. So circumstances will come in your life that you may not want to do, okay, or you may not want to deal with, and just recognise that if you're out there wanting a better life, it's all part of the little stepping stones to where you want to go. And I think too many people try and break down the steps that they need to go into, and they imagine the steps, and when the steps don't present themselves, they think there's something wrong. So good and bad, just go for it, go forwards. That's where we are. Okay, so currently, let me date this, it's the 29th of February, and I'm just doing these updates, not just for myself, but as a record to look back on, when I'm doing all the things that I want to do. Okay, when I'm, talking on stage, or driving the car that I want, or being with the people that I want to be with, I can look back at this and go, look, this is my journey, and this is when I finally realised not only do I have the power, not only does everybody on the planet have the power to change their future, but this is what happened to me, and I did the same. So there we go. So all I want to do now is sleep. But I know when I get in my bed, my body might not let me. Okay, because all it wants to do is cough up this PE. But we've got some exercise techniques that we're going to use tonight. Me and the dog. That we're going to use tonight. He's not going to come with me. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to use some exercises tonight to see if I can really kind of focus on relaxing, because that's a lot of it, is being able to relax enough. And yes, in terms of the strategies, I've been doing manifestations every morning, meditation every morning, and for someone like me, northern bald guy from the UK, talking about doing manifestations and things, it seems quite funny, but then that's just a perception of myself, and when you realise and when you understand that you are ultimately the creator of your future, then nothing should stand in the way of that. You should just get on with it and do it, and know that the science works, and have faith with it. And it's just the same as anything I say. When I talk about developing an online business, or developing or becoming a successful forex trader, or whatever trader you want to be, I always say you've got to give it 3 months. You've got to give it 12 months. You've got to give it 12 months minimum. And what you'll find is, what I always do with this is I break it down to quarters, Q1 to Q4, 12 months, 3-month sections. And most people who start online businesses, they give it 2.8 months on average, 2.8 months, and they quit. Okay, because they're not focusing on themselves, they're focused on the results. And what I want to be doing, okay, is focusing on all these things all at once. This really, when you think about it, this is powerful. It's seriously powerful what is happening right now, in terms of the manifestations, in terms of the meditations, and it's not to be abused, because knowing it is powerful knowing it is scientific and knowing that internal changes, scientific changes are happening in the body, you've got to use it in the right way, because if you use it in the wrong way, it can really damage you, okay, and it can damage the long-term effects of your life. And in some respects, that's what's happened to me. You know, with all the will and the intelligence and the abilities, and I'm not where I should be. I'm not where I want to be, shall we say? Okay. And now I've got to rephrase that and say I am where I want to be, and I'm thankful for it, because I'm not thinking of my current position. I'm thinking of where I'm going. Okay. So therein lies a bit of a transition. The other thing you start to do as well is that you start to become aware of your own internal dialogue. You start to really look at what you say to yourself, because what you say to yourself is ultimately powerful as well, you know. So we've got to look at that, and when something don't go right, instead of saying silly bastard, you know, you should be doing that right, okay, you got to go, hang on a minute, just stop, come back, okay, because quite often the way you talk to yourself is sometimes the way you talk to the people that you love, and that's a recipe for disaster, okay, so that can happen as well. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. So that is, I don't know what update this is, because I get the inclination to do these videos and then just jump on and do them. Okay, so yeah, it's all happening, good and bad, painful as it is sometimes, you know, with a pulmonary embolism. I'm getting used to saying that, pulmonary embolism. They are painful, and but again, you know, once this blockage is gone, how are things then going to progress? I can't remember what the saying is, but you know, Joe Dispenza says that there are certain emotions that are developed in the brain, and there are certain emotions that are kept and developed within the body. Okay, you know, this says the body has. I can't remember what it was, but I'm going to go back and see what his quote is. This is the problem with no sleep. You have an idea of something happening, and you wonder if you've imagined it or you've seen it, you know, so everything kind of blends together. It's really quite weird. Anyway, I want to go, and I will look forward to seeing you on the next session, and just keep you updated with progress. Speak soon.